Hi, Cooper Glover, 1972 here, better known as Brian, of course. So I'm still learning the ropes as far as doing streaming. I think I did something today which is different from what I usually do, and that is um, on this particular part of the YouTube program or whatever. Um, I set a reminder. Oh, hey, Need Gore. Hi. So, anyways, I set a reminder in another part of YouTube, and that's I think how people. Well, I put up a video earlier today, maybe I don't know, 4:30 maybe or 5 o'clock, saying I was going to be on around 8 o'clock. On around 8 o'clock. Um, but I did this other thing on YouTube where I go onto the camera thing and then I put the information in and then I put the date in there. And I think that's what gave more people the notification that I was on and that and also I put it on Facebook like I said last night. I put a notice on Facebook. So we'll see how many people join tonight. So I like I said last night, I don't know if the people that I see that are on the stream are people that have channels or if they don't have channels. And if they don't have channels, you don't know if they're watching you or not. I have no idea. But anyways, so let me give some shout outs. I'll give a shout out first to Need Gore. Check out his channel. He's got some music that he's done. He did a video today. I haven't listened to it. I don't know if it's a music video. I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know exactly what's in it. So, but check out his channel. Check out a friend of mine. He's got two channels. One's called I Ain't Got Time to Bleed, and the other channel is called Sexy Monkey. Um, he shows Blu-rays that he gets in the mail. Um, he he shows what else does he show? I know I was watching last night. You'll have my support. Oh, okay. Thank you, Nigor. So yeah, so he sometimes cuts in like scenes from films for like comic relief. I don't know. Just he's a good YouTuber. He makes custom sleeves for his movies and he shows them to you, and he's an interesting guy. Another guy that you should check out on YouTube would be CP. I think it's every Monday. His channel. Oh, by the way, his channel is maybe I'll screw it up. CP. I'm not sure. Willis Greedia, because I know it was by another title before that, like WILLIS CREDIA, something like that. Oh, it used to be Will. What was it? Will I like this reviews? Yes. And I think he changed the title of the channel a little bit. Maybe you could still look under Will I still like this? Every Monday he has like three other guys on with him, and they talk about, I guess, the films that gross the most during the weekend and what their predictions are towards the success of various films. So that's his channel. Let me think. Another person that does stream. He's from Australia. He showed his Western collection recently. Jace, his name's spelled JASE. Let's see, who else can I? I'm trying to think through the people that I visit a lot. Yeah, CP's wife, her channel's Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. She did a live stream recently with one of CP's regular Monday guests and a person called Queenie Todd, spelled KWEEN. I think it's EY, not Y, it's EY, I think. Hey, Eric. Oh, Eric. That's another channel, another shout out. Internet Eric here. Check out his channel. He does reviews. Hope I'm saying it right, Eric, that I'm promoting your channel correctly. You do reviews, I think. I think it was the last time you had. I don't know his real name, but his name, I guess, was Whitey. He has a channel, Whitey, the white guy reviews, I think, something like that. Um, Eric, if you know the exact title of his channel, you put it in the comments if you'd like. I'm trying to remember. So, I got Sexy Monkey, his other channel, Ain't Got Time to Bleed, Willis Creed Media. I can't remember what the title exactly is of CP's channel, Need Gore's channel, Jace's channel. I'll mention a YouTuber right now that isn't active currently. His name is Roger, and his channel is called Channel Donstar, DON. And if it wasn't for Roger, I would never have met Sasha. I would never met Eric, or I would have never met Ant or John Steele or Jace. Who else? LJ. LJ. There's. Sorry, LJ. I forgot. That should pop up right in my mind. He has a channel. It's called LJ Draco's Movie Channel. Check out his channel. He usually shows what he has in his collection. Talks about 3D films. Oh yeah, and that reminds me of another YouTuber. His name is Sean. His channel is Slipcover King. I can't recall if Sean has done some regular videos. He's on the streams a lot, like Sean. Not Sean. Sasha streams. So and then there's Aaron Pin. AA AARON, and then his last name is PYNN. He does a lot of streams. Usually I think they're basically at night. I've caught a few in the day, like when I was at work during the afternoon. Hey, Sasha, I've been promoting your two channels and promoting some other people, giving some shout outs. Who was I talking about a second ago? Aaron Pin. Yeah, so he does streams. Usually they're late at night. What time would they be? I don't know. Anytime from like 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 11 p.m. or 12 a.m., something like that. It jumps around. Usually, Aaron Pin is not really on during the afternoon or the not in the morning. I don't think I've ever caught him in the morning. But and have I done everybody that I can think of? Maybe I've missed somebody and I can't remember who that is. I'm kind of on the spot. I'm trying to remember all the people. There's Eric. There's CP, Sasha with Sexy Monkey, and Ain't Got Time to Bleed. It's Jace. There are other YouTubers that are on people like Sasha stream. I don't know if they have tons of videos on their own channel. Like John Steele, I think only has a few. Voodoo Magic Robbie, I don't know the case with Robbie. I think he has some videos on his channel. I don't know how many, but you can usually see him on the chat sides on various. I think he comes into Aaron's streams. He's on Sasha's streams. So and then LJ, as I said before, Aaron, Eric. Who am I not talking? Who am I not saying? Sean, Slipcover King. And Culture Trini, he's another. I don't know if he's done some videos or not, but you can see him on the chat, and he comes into the stream usually late at night, like, I don't know, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. usually. Have I covered everybody? Well, I'm just going to go on now to my books. I think I've done enough shout outs. Sorry, anyone that I know that I forgot about. So, yeah. So, oh, yeah. Okay. So you're saying Robbie, John, Trini, they don't really do videos anymore. Okay. That's what you're saying, I guess. Okay. So I think these are all film bios. Let's get to it. This first book is called The Operator. It's about David Geffen. David Geffen's a pretty important figure in Hollywood. He launched music artists and movie makers. He launched like Guns N' Roses. There's a picture of him with Bill Clinton there. But he's also known for he founded Geffen Records, which I think branches out from, is it Warner Brothers maybe? He was one of the founders with Jeffrey Katzenberg and Steven Spielberg of DreamWorks. He headed the music division. Jeffrey Katzenberg, who made Shrek, he did the animated part of DreamWorks, and then Spielberg was the movie part of it. I don't know the status of DreamWorks right now, but that's what it was. But this is a book about David Geffen. This looks like a crappy book. I don't know. I got it from the library. It was a children's book. It's a book on special effects by Sharon Costner and movies and TV. It's probably outdated, but I just have a hunger for film books, so I have this, so maybe I'll probably never read it, I guess. Who knows? This is a book on Sergei Eisenstein. This is the definitive biography by Mary Seddon. He's a Russian director. He directed some silent films like Battleship Potemkin, which some may regard as the greatest silent film ever made, one of the greatest silent films ever made. And he made some films like Alexander Nevsky, Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible, I think, is a veiled metaphor for Stalin. And he made two parts of it. He might have shot a third part. I think Eisenstein, his death is sort of a mystery. I don't know. Maybe I'm conjecturing too much, but maybe Stalin killed him. I mean, Stalin, when Trotsky left the Soviet Union, and he was in Mexico City and he was assassinated. And I think Stalin sent out the people to assassinate him. I don't know a ton about Russian history, but anyways, he lived during this time period, Sergei Eisenstein. I have some of his movies. There's also, on the criterion of Alexander Nevsky and Ivan the Terrible, there's a movie he did called Basin Meadow. You can only watch stills from the film, and they've been, a lot of the film has been taken away, so it's, not complete, but anyways. This book's on Sam Spiegel, who was a producer of Lawrence of Arabia. I think he produced Bridge on the River Kwai, but this is a book on him. It's another library book that they were getting rid of, so I took it. I get dibs on it because I work there. Oh, thank you, Nigor. Hollywood History of the World from 1 Million Years BC to Apocalypse Now by George MacDonald Fraser. So I guess this is a book. There's like Betty Davis. I think that's Betty Davis. Yes. Henry Fonda's. Betty Davis is Elizabeth. Henry Henry Fonda is Abe Lincoln. Oh yeah, right there, showing pictures. And Charles Boyer is Napoleon. So yeah, this is Fiction into Film by Rachel Maddox, Sterling Silliphant, and Neil DeIsaacs. Film theory, literary, and cinematic criticism, as well as film techniques. I don't know what this is about. Maybe I didn't even know that I own this. I don't know. It's about the making of a motion picture, from original story to screenplay to finished film. I guess it concerns a movie called "The Walk in the Spring Rain." I guess that's what it's about. With Bette Davis's daughter. Okay. Maybe you'll find this interesting, Sasha. The Film Paintings of David Lynch, Challenging Film Theory by Alistair McTaggart. I have a friend who lives close by. His favorite director is David Lynch. So this should make for some compelling reading, you know. This is a book on Stephen King's movies. That's Salem's Lot. What's his name was in that? James Mason. There's films of his. There's James Mason right there, right? Yeah. You know, Nicholson, Sissy Spacek as Carrie, Cujo there, and Stephen King himself, and one of the, I think it was Creepshow. It's a book on Fellini, the artist. I love Fellini. I have met a few people that are not wild about Fellini, and I don't get it, but I guess it's, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not wild about everything David Lynch. I either hate him or love him usually, except Blue Velvet sort of gets me. I like the Isabella Rossellini parts and the Dennis Hopper parts. I don't really like the Laura Dern parts. But I don't know. Some people don't like Fellini that much, and I don't really understand it. I know some of his films are kind of failures. There's like Satyricon is not that great a film in a way, maybe story wise, or I don't know, maybe it is story wise in a way, because it's playing with structure. You know, the main character disappears during a portion of the film. I think he's trying to be artistic and branch off, but even Fellini's failures, I think, were visually magnificent to look at. Like, and The Ship Sails On is okay, but visually it's kind of compelling to watch. So I don't know. I just don't get this. I don't know if the right word is hate, but I don't get this. I don't get this animosity or whatever towards Fellini. I think he's fantastic. I think he's one of the best directors of all time. But he directed one of my favorite movies, La Dolce Vita. And 8.5 is a close second. But La Dolce Vita is more personal to me for some reasons. And, you know, I think like real life, you know, sometimes you don't have a happy, well, it's just, real life sometimes is not great. You know, sometimes it has unhappy things happening, you know, but, so that's probably why I like La Dolce Vita a little bit better than 8.5. I still love 8.5. Don't get me wrong. You know, I guess this is covering his movies. 8.5. Juliet of the Spirits. I think it's Satyricon. Yeah, Satyricon, The Clowns, Amarcord. So Ivy Aloni, which I think was his Oh, The White Shake was his first film. I think he co-directed it. And I Vitelloni, some regard it as Fellini's best film, was his first film he directed solely on his own. And of course, La Strada, another great film of his with his wife, who was in a lot of his movies. And there's no Knights of Cabiria, which starred his wife Juliana Messina. Here's another book on Fellini, The Cinema of Federico Fellini by Peter Bondanella. I have read this book, but I can't. I just don't have any retention. I just can't remember everything. It just goes. At some point, it just disappears from my mind. What all these. For the most part, I can't remember everything. So it's just too hard to remember. But I like to reread some of these books. They'd probably be a lot of fun to read. So. That's Juliet of Spirits there. That's Casanova, which Donald Sutherland was in, which I have not seen. It's kind of hard to get access to some of his movies. He was a cartoonist before he was a filmmaker. And the filmmaker that gave him a big break was Rossellini, Roberto Rossellini. And he was in, I have the War Trilogy by Rossellini, which I have not watched. I don't think I've watched any Rossellini films, or maybe I saw one. Maybe I saw The Flowers of St. Francis. No, I did see that. I think Rossellini directed that, but otherwise, no. And I think Fellini makes an appearance in Paisan. So yeah, that's like the start of his career there. This is the International Dictionary of Films and Filmmakers by edited by Christopher Lyon. A landmark in the study of films and how they're made, providing in-depth information on the most significant motion pictures ever produced around the world. It's just text. I don't know if these are. Yeah, I think these are alphabetical. So, yeah. Here's a book about the Oscars. Angry with Academy's choices, alternate Oscars. One critic's defiant choices for Best Picture, Actor, and Actress from 1927 to the present by Danny Perry. I had no idea that I owned this book, and it sounds interesting. That's a pretty interesting concept for a book, I would say. There are a lot of snubs during the year, during all of the years that the Academy Awards has gone. Like I think a lot of critics said Fargo is the best film of the year, but it came out in January, and it tends to be with the Academy Awards. It tends to be the films at the end of the year get nominated. I think it did get nominated, but the ones that tend to win or have a good chance of winning are the ones that are released very close to Oscar time, like in December. Sometimes they're wider released in January and February. But in order to qualify for the Oscars, you have to have your film shown at certain theaters. Well, you have to have your film shown in, I think, LA and maybe New York too, or maybe just New York or LA. And also, like, just a side note, the short films that are made of the short films, you can look up, I guess online you can submit them to certain places, certain movie theaters around America. And if the Academy sees it and likes it, they'll put it in the short film category. So I'm looking at the chat just for a second. I see Sasha says he watched Moonlight yesterday, really liked it. Yeah, it's a really good movie. Um, you know, the young man, the main character, the strife he's going through for more than one reason. Um, it's a pretty gripping movie, and it's sad what happens in the movie, but I think it's uplifting too. Would you say it's uplifting, Sasha, as well? In a sense, I don't know. Anyways, it's a good movie. I recommend it, and then Sasha probably recommends it as well. So okay, so now we got this book. I think it's like written like a dictionary. Great movie directors by Ted Sennett. I'm going to say something. I'm going to wait a few minutes and see if anybody answers. I see there's only one person on here. Can anybody guess who that guy is on the front? I'll wait a second and see. Anybody know? Yes, right. Exactly, Sasha. Spielberg. I think this is Bob Fosse in the back. So, because Spielberg has like he grew a beard, he didn't, just very various, different phases of his life. So there's pictures of filmmakers here. There's Woody Allen in Sleeper, I believe that is right there. I'm not really giving you a good view, I don't think. Let me see. There's what's his name? Woody Allen. Who's this? Frank Capra, I believe, here. It Happened One Night. There's Clark Gable. Apocalypse Now. Heaven's Gate, I believe. Godfather. It's a nice book. Directors Guild. This is an old book. That's here's David Lean right here. He's making Ryan's daughter. Hard weather conditions there. Peter Finch and Network. That's Sidney Lumet. Patty Duke, I think, The Miracle Worker. I think. Yes. Arthur Penn directed that. Arthur Penn was going to be at the Burns to show. I don't know what movie they were showing, but he died before he was scheduled to be there. So his widow was there, and I think one of his children. I think that's Miracle on 34th Street there. So it's just people that. Oh, this is Don Siegel, I think, right here. Right there. That's Dirty Harry, I believe. So Mary Poppins, so this is they've had these books. I don't know if they really do this series anymore, and I don't know if they're out of print. I have a few of these books. They're the Focus On series. This one is on Godard. So, and I think there's pictures that they put in the middle of the book. There's Godard right there. Of course, Godard right now, he's an old man. He's like in his 80s. Godard, like Lynch, I'm sort of a love-hate kind of relationship with him. I think he's directed some really fantastic movies, and then I think he's directed some duds. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, when I put the video up today around like 4:30, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I mentioned the Criterion flash sale. Criterion's website, it happened today. I was waiting and waiting and waiting for it, thinking it would happen in February. Turns out it's today. I look online, I looked on Google, and they were saying on, I think it's Reddit, the site Reddit, Reddit, Reddit.com. That's usually the sales done on a Tuesday. And looking through my email history is usually February and October when they did the Criterion flash sales on their website for one day. So this flash sale is happening right this very minute, and it will end around noonish tomorrow afternoon. So if you want to get Criterions for half off, now is the time. But I looked on the internet just to see if people overseas could grab these titles, and you can. I guess they only ship to Canada and the U.S. So sorry about that, but I thought I'd let you know. I let everybody know who's interested. So this was the book on Boone, My Last Sigh. I think it's an autobiography. Boone was an atheist. He has a statement saying, "Thank God I'm an atheist." But I don't know if this is ironic or not ironic. He had a lot of friends that were priests, and he liked to make fun of things, and he was a surrealist. That's Dali, Salvador Dali, right there. Who he and Boone made Boone's first film called On Chien Andalou. There's a famous eye-cutting scene in it where they substituted the close-up with the there's Belle de Jour, one of my favorite movies. And another favorite, Viridiana is another one of my favorites as well. Talking about Viridiana, or not Viridiana, but Boone, I mean, there's a film I like of his called Tristan, with Catherine Deneuve as well in it. But they just don't, they're just not releasing it to the public. I mean, like, I think you can get it on VHS. Maybe you can get it in other countries, but for some reason they're not releasing it here. I don't think they're really releasing it anywhere, which is sad. I mean, for the time being, it's sad. Here's a nice picture. I like this picture a lot. These are a bunch of directors here. Billy Wilder's in here. Where's Billy Wilder? There he is, I believe. You got Boone, right? Boone right there. Hitchcock, so this is like a legendary, one-of-a-kind event, There's like, I think Frank Capra, Weiler, George Cukor, Robert Wise, Jean-Claude Carrière, Serge Silverman, George Stevens, Rabun Mamalian. I think he did Nanook in the North. That's like a one-of-a-kind night, or day, or whatever that was. This is another Focus On book. It's called Focus on the Science Fiction Film. 2001, of course. Um, maybe that's Mie's Voyage to the Moon. I don't know. And then this one, I have no idea what that is. But again, these were library books, and you know, I had a choice of getting them, so why not? But I just haven't read them yet. This is When the Movies Were Young, by Mrs. D.W. Griffith, with the new introduction by Edward Wagencheck. He, you hated seeing the eyes seen by some parts, so he knows they shipped to Australia. Yeah, I saw Ernest Borgnine's still alive, huh? Yeah. Well, anyways, D.W. Griffith's wife wrote this, I guess. D.W. Griffith was an infamous director. He directed a 3-hour, roughly a 3 hours or a little more film called Birth of a Nation, which was a Civil War movie. It sort of established, well, now there's this documentary series. I don't have it. They've also made a book of it. I think I do have I had the book, but they made a mini series. Well, not a mini. It's a very, very long documentary. It's like 13 episodes or something. It's like 13 hours or something. It's about the history of film. It's called The Story of Film. And Cousins is the name of the guy who wrote the book and did the narration for the film. I think his first name is Norman. He's got I think he's Scottish or Irish. He's got like a brogue when he talks in the documentary. He's got an accent when he talks, a heavy accent. But he was talking about like I thought certain things came from certain places. And he sort of re-educated me on certain things. Like maybe Birth of a Nation wasn't the first 2-hour movie. It was, well, technically it wasn't 2 hours. It was like 3 hours, but the wide shot and then the medium shots and then the close-ups, that grammar D.W. Griffith established, but also the Soviets were doing that too, like Eisenstein, like Padovkin, Giga Vertov. There's another Russian I'm trying to think of, and I can't remember his name. Anyways, and like you would think the first director was male or something, and Ida Lupino, he says, was the first director, and she was a woman, and she was, and incidentally, she was also in the Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone series. I think season 1, you can see her in one of the episodes. But anyways, so D.W. Griffith directed this film called Birth of a Nation. It's racist. It portrays the Ku Klux Klan as heroes. But it's sort of, I'm not sure, maybe it established the 2-hour movie, even though technically it was 3. He made another film after that called Intolerance, which showed like the fights between different religious factions, or it's 4 different stories the film is about 3 hours and 15 minutes. I like the film Intolerance, but I know he's a terrible person. And he ended up an alcoholic, I believe, and he couldn't get any work at the time towards the end of his life, which was like the late 40s, I think. Again, another book on David Lynch. Lynch on Lynch. This looks pretty exciting to read, So, what's this right here? Oh, I think it's, yeah, this is David Lynch as a child. Eraserhead. Some more, I think that's a Eraserhead. Oh no, it's industrial design. I guess it's some artwork. It's photographs he took. I guess it's artwork he did. I think that's storyboards. This looks pretty cool. I think this is pretty interesting. I think it's Lost Highway there. So straight story with what's his name? Richard Farnsworth and Harry Dean Stanton there as estranged brothers. Uh, um, Straight Story, I think, is one of those films you see by a director, and if their name wasn't in the credits, you'd never know it was the same director based on their different style. Yeah. Oh, Sasha, I did know about the Return of the Jedi that he was offered the job. I mentioned it in one of these streams. Like, I don't know. I think you were here last. You were here yesterday for that stream, but I mentioned in a stream, maybe maybe 3 streams ago or 4. I don't know when it was. I mentioned how David Lynch was considered for Return of the Jedi. Spielberg was as well, but Spielberg was part of the Directors Guild, and I guess it's the way the credits are ordered. You had to put the credits at the end, and you know how. Oh no, you had to put the credits at the start of the film, according to Directors Guild rules at the time, at least. And Lucas does it at the end of Star Wars, so he ended up with Richard Marquand, and Richard Marquand has passed away since. So, but anyways, he became the director. Next up, we have a book on Walt Disney. I've read at least one biography of Walt Disney. So, Strike by Disney artists. So, he's a weird kind of history. Like they're free. I've heard about the myth of him. I don't know if it's a myth, like him being frozen, him being not nice. I had no idea. But I have been to Disney World in Florida. Sterling Holloway did the voice of more characters in Disney features than anyone else. I went to Disney World when I was about 14 in Florida when I was in middle school. I went on vacation with my family there. It was good for the time. I enjoyed the trip. I enjoyed Disney World, but I wouldn't go back there, especially in the summer. But we didn't go in the summer. We went in February, but I'd rather go to Japan or Europe or China. I have no desire to go back to Disney World. It's just not my thing. I'd rather go to art museum or a jazz concert or a rock concert or a classical concert or an opera. I'd rather sightsee and like see the Great Wall of China or see some Japanese buildings and Buddhas, and just Disney World doesn't work for me. Here we go with Boone again. This is by John Baxter. I think he did a book on. I shouldn't say I think. I'm pretty sure that he did a book on Kubrick. He's in the special features of, I think it's Dr. Strangelove, John Baxter. But anyways, this is a book he covered on Boone. Right up here, we have a film called Simon of the Desert with Sylvia Pinell there. And I don't know who the aesthetic guy is, but it's a guy that's like he's like a monk, and he's trying to get away from temptation and come closer to God, and he's being tempted by the devil, who's portrayed by Sylvia Pinell. It was an unfinished film, and they were going to have, I think, maybe it was Fellini and Kurosawa, or was it Fellini and Bergman, or something like that. There's going to be 3 directors, and they were going to make this film, and it just fell apart. But you can get Simon in the Desert on Criterion. I have a copy of it. So obviously, because they couldn't make a longer film, it's a shorter movie. So I don't know how long it is. I can't remember. It's like 40 minutes, 30, 60, something like that. I think it's less than 60. Maybe it's 40 minutes. But anyways, that's Simon of the Desert. Viridiana there. I love that movie, Viridiana. Belle de Jour, Beauty of the Day. Great film. With the beautiful Catherine Deneuve. So I think that's him there in old age. Here's a book on Coppola. I think I've read this. It's by Peter Cowie, Peter Cowie is a contributor to a lot of special features of Criterion's. So here's a book he wrote on Coppola. Of course, I think Coppola's first movie, Godfather 2 there, or is it 1? Godfather 2, yes. I think his first movie was Rain People, Finian's Rainbow. He did Dementia 13, which I can't remember my source. I think it's Corman that he got that from. Dementia 13. You know, Corman worked with a lot of emerging directors that would become big after they worked for him, like Scorsese, who did Boxcar Bertha, I think, for him. And Jonathan Demme, I believe, worked with Corman. Ron Howard, too, I think. Coppola. I think I'm missing somebody, but yeah, Roger Corman was a big help. Oh, James Cameron, yes. But that's all I can think of for the time being. Conversation there. Great underrated film by Coppola. Maybe it's not underrated. I don't know, but I don't know if people are aware of that movie. This is a book on Ingmar Bergman. I don't know who wrote it. Persona on the front there. I don't know, if, Sasha, if you've seen Persona yet, but it's a fantastic movie. I think it's very unlike some of Bergman's other films, and Shame is that way to me too. I ordered Shame today, so at some point I'm going to show my Criterions that I bought today from the sale, and I got some more stuff that I'm going to pick up at the library, some more movies, and something amazing. Well, I don't know if it's amazing. I don't know if I'm tooting my own horn, but today, since I spent a certain amount of money in the past and currently today with Criterion, they gave me a $50 gift certificate to their website. So more Criterions, I guess, you know. The disadvantage, I guess, to it is that if a Blu-ray is like $40 and you pay less for the sales, 50% off, you pay 20. So I only can get like one Blu-ray out of this $50 gift certificate, and maybe another Blu-ray, but I'd have to pay an extra 30. But it's not too bad. That was good news. I really like that. You know, this is a book written by Ingmar Bergman. I think I started this. I don't know why I didn't end it, but it's about Ingmar Bergman. He wrote it. Images, My Life in Film. Got Bang Ektorok right there as Death from Seventh Seal. There he is in back. There's his mentor, I guess, and his inspiration, Victor Seastrom, who was in or Sostrom or Seastrom, and Wild Strawberries, Hour of the Wolf. Oh man, I'm on YouTube and I just showed nudity. I don't think it's gonna matter. It's like this is an artistic book. It's I don't think I'm gonna get a strike on that. I've tried not to show that nudity or anything on YouTube. Um, yeah, well, it's like if you showed a Picasso painting online on your YouTube channel that was a nude, they probably wouldn't care. I guess you really have to be exploitive to have a strike against you for something like that. Next up, I'd love to read this. I just don't know why I haven't read it yet. Antonioni. It's a book on him. A biography of him. Sanradi. This looks cool. I don't know if you've watched any Antonioni movies yet, Sasha, but fantastic director. I think Red Desert's overrated, but like La Ventura, La Notte, which is probably my favorite Antonioni. Yeah, so yeah, and The Passenger, of course, with Nicholson, and she was in Last Tango in Paris. Schneider, I can't remember her name, but she was in both of those movies. This book I got from my aunt and uncle for Christmas one time. One of these filmmakers, I think, was on Mubi, and they only keep it up for 30 days each film, so I missed his film. But anyways, it's about these independent filmmakers, Critical Cinema by Scott McDonald. I think I've read through this book, but these are experimental directors. I think John Waters is featured in here. These are artsy kind of directors. They're ones that use like paint strips on film. They paint on the actual film itself. Yes, here's John Waters. Yes, Divine there. A drag queen or whatever. It was a man playing a woman. Divine. He's passed away since, but yeah. These are just directors that are pretty out there. Well, I don't mean out there in the sense of being controversial out there. I mean they're experimental directors. They're not the run of the mill Hollywood director. They're going out on a limb, I guess, artistically speaking. And then we got Classics of the Foreign Film, a Victorial Treasury by Parker Tile. So we've got maybe that's Rashomon, La Dolce Vita, Battleship Potemkin, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Don't know which film this is. Oh, maybe that's it's a French movie. It's regarded as one of the greatest French films ever made. I wish I could remember it. It was made during the Nazi occupation. I can't remember the name of this movie. And they have it on Criterion. I don't know if it's in print, but I wish I could remember the name. But anyways, it's that film, I think. Then there's Blue Angel by Joseph von Sternberg there with Marlene Dietrich and Emil Jannings. Which I've seen. I think I've seen all of those movies featured on the front there. I think I showed nudity again, but I don't think I had to worry too much. So I'm probably not. Let me do that again because I don't think I'm showing you a good view. That's Napoleon, by the way. This is yes. This was CinemaScope or Cinerama before there was Cinerama or CinemaScope. He had 3 projectors going. This was like 1926 or so, and this was before CinemaScope, Cinerama in the 50s. This was happening. That's why I find Napoleon interesting. He did a lot of innovative things in that movie. Oh, there's the eye thing in Boone on Shenandoah, which was a banned movie, by the way. He did a lot of innovative things, like he took, and the cameras were big in those days because it's the silent era. So, but he was doing things like putting cameras on horses and following along, like the guy playing Napoleon across a field or a plain at the French. During the French Revolution, the Terror or whatever, when what's his name, the Jacobin, Robespierre is having this meeting in this room. He had a gimbal or whatever. He hung the camera from the ceiling and got this like swingy effect. He did a lot of innovative films, innovative techniques in that movie. There you have Joseph von, not Joseph von Sternberg, Erich von Stroheim, who was in Sunset Boulevard by Billy Wilder. He was a silent film director. He's here in Grand Illusion, directed by Jean Renoir. Jean Renoir is not a director I like that much. He directed what's considered one of the greatest films ever made, probably maybe the greatest European film ever made, the greatest French film, one of the greatest, which I don't agree with, which is Rules of the Game, about a bunch of wealthy people that spend time at a mansion, and also the lives of the people that serve them, the butlers, the maids. There's sort of a parallel to it later on called Gosford Park. But anyways, Erich von Stroheim was in this, and Erich von Stroheim directed a film called Greed, which is extremely hard to find. I think it's on YouTube. It's a silent film. What I mean by hard to find is they haven't put it up like on. I don't think it's ever been on Blu-ray. And if it's on DVD, I'm not sure if this is region locked or I don't know. It's just not very accessible, and it's regarded as one of the greatest films ever made. In fact, like I think like the original cut was like 15 hours. They cut it down 9 hours. They cut it down 6. They cut it down 3, and it works. I think it's a case of one film that works in more than one time length, but it's supposed to be a significant, great film, Yeah, so anyways, here's Ivan the Terrible that I was talking about. If you can see here, this is like a reference to Stalin watching everybody, spying on people. They painted an eye on the ball, So, and last, I think it's last. Yes, it is last, and it's falling apart, and it's been that way for quite some time. It's the Art of Return of the Jedi. So, it's got production design sketches and paintings, and I think some storyboards in here. It's falling apart. I think it's got the script in here too. Matte paintings. It's falling apart. It's yeah. Each Star Wars film they made, I'm talking about the original trilogy. They added more shots with each film. They did more matte paintings. They did more, Um, Jabba the Hutt. They did more shots. They did more space, spaceships and battles, and they piled it on more. So, anyways, that does it. I'm at 1 hour. I thought this video stream would be shorter, being the fact that I thought perhaps I had less books in this box, but I guess I had the same amount as I've had before. Um, so I guess it finishes it. So I've seen Eric here. I saw him. I don't know if he's still on. I think Sasha's on here right now. And then Need Gore was on here. I'm gonna not leaf. I'm gonna scroll up just to see who's been on here. Need Gore, Sasha, Internet Eric. I think that's it. But anyways, doesn't matter. If there's somebody that's just joined right now. Oh, you're gonna watch a Western now? Okay, yeah, because I'm wrapping it up now. So thanks for watching. Of course, if you didn't see this live, you obviously can watch it recorded after this. I don't know if this is the best time to show something, but I thought it was the most ideal, or for me, ideal. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Maybe I'll do a stream in the near future. Who knows? I'll probably make an announcement if I do. And take care for now. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. See you soon.